welcome back to my channel. So today I am doing another book haul, and this has to be like the biggest book haul I've ever done because there's a lot of books and there are doubles. This is a mixture of books that I've just hauled and just never did a video on it because I'm like, a lot of the stuff is either from book sales or friends gave them to me or Dollar Tree stuff, and I don't know if I have duplicates of this already in my own collection. But anyway, we're gonna start off with the first book, which I actually have a duplicate of. I don't know where it is. My friend gave this to me, well, her version of it, and then I found this at the dollar store, which I feel really bad because I really like this author a lot and I've been meaning to read this book for a very long time. It is Before I Fall by Lauren Oliver, and I don't know what it's about. I've read her Delirium series. Yeah, I've read her Delirium series before in the past, and I loved that series so much, and I've heard so many good things about this series. I know that they made it into a film not too long ago, and I haven't read it. But yeah, I found this at the dollar store and I really love it. I love the texture of it. But yeah, which just looked really cool. I was in a sci-fi mood. That's why I bought it. It's also from the Dollar Tree. There's a lot of them that are on this side of me that are from the dollar store. And this is Free Space by Sean Denker. It looked really cool. It looked very space-esque. It's short, so that's why I bought it. This one is a book called As You Wish by Chelsea Seedowat. So yeah. And I'm such a hypocrite because I buy books or I read books that I like the cover of, and it just seemed like such a good quality. Like, you can find some really interesting stuff at the dollar store. I haven't found many this year, but I've found a couple of them in the beginning of the year, and it feels like they're just being picked through. So this one just looked really interesting. I believe it has to do with like that whole, like, if you could wish for anything and then it comes true and like repercussions happen throughout the end of it. So yeah, like this is just kind of like a how-to kind of like motivational book. It looked really cool and I really like the cover of it. It's The Art of Confidence, a novel by Wendy Lee. And it's really short, and I love books that have like this, they're not fully like cut straight on the edge. It's just really like texturizing. I just love it. A Danger to Herself and Others. It Wasn't My Fault by Alyssa Shamil. It looks like something that I would read. So this one is I think spin-off to, or its inclusion to The Pretty Little Liars, The Perfectionist, New Lies, New Liars by Sarah Shepard. I do own the first book in this series. I don't know if this is just a spin-off or whatnot. I've heard some interesting things about the Pretty Little Liars series, so that's why I bought it. And then one of my favorite authors when I was younger, she wrote espionage and etiquette, and I saw a couple of her books actually, and this is the third book. I don't believe I have the first book in this series. I have the third and the second, but this is Competence, the Custard Protocol, book 3 by Gail Garslinger. I think that's how you say her name. I really did like espionage and etiquette. I think I read up to book 3. That was a really good book, and she does a lot of like steampunk mixed with like vampire or like werewolf stuff, like mystical stuff, and I love steampunk so much. I mean, this looks so steampunky and I love it. But yeah, I have Imperance, which I believe is somewhere around here, so we'll get to that one at some point. But yeah, I wanted to check this one out. I do actually own her main series, Espionage and Etiquette. I just don't know where they are. And then I also got this book by one of my favorite authors. I'm actually currently rereading one of her books, and I don't know how I feel about it, but I do love, but this is a new one from her, and this is The Turncoat's Cabinet by Andrea Creamer. She got married, so some of her newer books are under a different last name, so this was before she got married, and then I found out that she had other books that she released, but it's just under a different name, because, you know, I forgot that people can get married and have their names changed. But I really loved Nightshade, which I'm currently reading, rereading, and this was also at the dollar store, and I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna pick this up. It looks interesting. I'm assuming it's about pirates. So I bought this because I don't know if this was a book first or a movie first, because sometimes it's the opposite way around, but I also found this at the dollar store. It is the official movie novelization of Valorant and the City of a Thousand Planets. So I'm assuming that this came out after the movie. I haven't seen the movie. The movie looked really interesting. It's very sci-fi-esque, and it's a short little novel. I'm pretty sure it's probably like just a recap of like what happened in the film. I thought I would pick that up. Some books that I don't know anything about, but I thought that they looked cool because of the cover. So this book is called Updraft by Fran Wiley. It looks really cool. It kind of gives me the aesthetic of like Avatar: The Last Airbender. That's kind of why I picked it up, and it's gonna be on my to reads list, but it looked really cool. I really liked the art aesthetic of it. And then I got this one called Romeo, Juliet, and Jim. I'm assuming that it's kind of like a Romeo and Juliet adaptation, but apparently there's a Jim involved, so I'm assuming it's a three-way relationship. And on the back it says two are star-crossed, but three are unscripted. So yeah, I'm assuming it has a love triangle-esque twist to the Romeo and Juliet. I thought it was really cute, and like the whole like locket heart on a gate. I thought that was really adorable. So yeah, there's that. Oh, and the author of this is Larry Schwartz and Ivy Marie Plammer. I don't remember where I got this from, to be honest, but I think I know a little bit about it. But it is Never Wake, sequel to Dreamfall, which I don't have Dreamfall. This is the sequel. I always forget that some of these I have sequels to, and not the first ones, because I get them at the dollar store and then I don't know that there was a book before it. So that's always so much fun. By Amy Plum. And I'm pretty sure it's like a nightmare. It's about nightmares and like these kids being tested on, if I remember correctly. But I haven't read it yet, so I'm looking forward to reading this as well. The City Board by Edward Wallet. And this just looked really cool and sci-fi. As you can tell, I am a sucker for covers. I thought this was really cool looking. And it retails for $26 and I got it for $1. So yeah. I thought it looked really cool. Kind of reminds me of like War of the Worlds kind of thing with like Star Wars mixed into it. But I thought the book, which is more like anime, it's a manga comic book type thing. It is called it's from Scott McCloud, The Sculptor. And then I just really like the cover of it. It looks really cool. It is a manga kind of comic book thing. And I have been really into manga lately. Got it at the dollar store. It's really heavy and hefty. So I'm like, ooh, I really need to get this. And I love like the architecture in the back. It looks really cool. So I got this at a thrift store. It didn't have the cover on it, so I have 2 doubles of it. And then I bought this, I believe, at Half Price Books, I want to say. Yeah, because I wanted the cover, and I believe it also has, not this one actually, this one actually has pictures in it from the movie, which I did see, and I love Cole Sprouts. I did see the movie before I read the book, but I got this because of the cover, and I'm keeping this because it has pictures in it. So I have 2 copies of it. If you don't know what this is about, spoilers, it's basically about these 2 kids who have this rare disease that basically affects their immune system, and they have to stay 5 feet apart, and of course they don't live very long. Their diagnosis causes them not to live very long, and it's a love story, so it's really sweet. The movie made me cry, and I really want to read this book, and it's by Richard Lapuchta and Mikey Donner and Tobias Lickinson. I can't pronounce names clearly. So yeah, I have 2 copies of that. It is by Emmy Le Bernard. This is Berserker. I just like the way it looked. It's really cool looking. I have no idea what it's about. It just looks really cool. And there's blood splatter all over it, and I appreciate. So this one I got at a local bookstore too. It's called Falling White, and I believe it's about like cyborgs. I like book covers. I'm a sucker for like something that looks pretty, and it's by J.S. Pendergast. Why does this sound familiar? Edgar Allan Poe, complete tales and poems. I was trying to get into poems at one point in my life, and I bought this, and I really like The Raven a lot, and I really like the cover of this. It has that soft touch feeling to it, and I'm like, finally a hardcover book that has soft touch cover. It's so nice and so pretty. But yeah, dude wrote a lot of poems, and I gotta read them, to be honest. My friend, who was also really into poetry, she loves writing poetry, she gave me this book called Library of World Poetry edition by William Cullen Bryant. So I believe it's just a bunch of like different poems that are like very well known in the poetry world. I'm not super into poetry, but I'll keep it. So it is the second book in this series. It is After You by Joe Moyes. I think that's how you pronounce their name. Joe Moyes. And I loved Me Before You, and this is After You. And that book made me cry so much. And I don't know if I'm ready to read the second book in the series. But yeah, my friend gave me this. Or no, I bought this at a bookstore, I believe. Yeah. So, yep. There's that. This is a very well-known book that I got also at a book sale. This is The Help, the Deluxe Edition by Kathy Scotty. I think that's how you pronounce their name. I've heard so many great things about it. I know that they made a movie about it. It's really well known, and I have no idea what it's about, but I'm gonna read it at some point in my life. I bought 2 copies accidentally at the dollar store, of City of Halves. I don't know why I bought 2 copies, so I'm probably gonna maybe give this. It was $1, it was $1. Buck well spent, apparently, because I bought 2 of them. I think I have the whole collection except for the new one that came out, and the one with the green apple. There's so many of them. I don't like it. Just make 3 and that's it. But this is Twilight by Stephanie Meyer. I have Twilight, I have Eclipse, I have New Moon, and then I have Breaking Dawn. And I don't have the other 2, I think, that came out in the series. And then the other one, and then the one with the green apple, and then the other one that recently came out that everybody's like, oh, it's just basically like a gender swap thing. I'm not gonna buy those. I'm just not. That's just not what's gonna happen. I've never read the books. I've seen the movies because I was forced to, either by relatives or because of school, because they made me watch it and I didn't want to watch it. And I'm not like a huge fan of Twilight. I just wanted to know what they were about, and I bought them for really, really cheap because they were second-hand used. So yeah, it was like a couple of bucks for like all of them. And yeah, there's just so many of them. And if you don't know what Twilight is about, it's basically about this girl named Bella, and she is basically in a love triangle, but like she's just kind of there. She doesn't really do anything. And she's constantly like deciding between if she's Team Jacob or Team Edward. So unless you like sparkling vampires and werewolves who fall in love with babies, this series might not be for you. I don't know why I bought them, because I'm not really into werewolves and vampires that much, to be honest. Even though I've been reading a lot of that lately, and I've been trying to do reviews about it lately. The next book I got was at a book sale, and I've seen the movie, or the adaptations of this, but this is The Secret Garden by Frances Holden's Burnett. I don't remember too much about the movie. I have like a gist of it, but yeah, I got that. It's really thin and I should read it. But this is The Host by Stephanie Meyer, who also wrote the Twilight series. And I've heard some really good things about this book, actually. I don't remember what it's about, but I've heard some really good things about it. And I'm surprised that Stephanie Meyer actually wrote this. I thought somebody else wrote it. I didn't know that she did. I did a review on all of these, but I actually picked them up all at different like thrift stores. But it's just the Hunger Games series. I bought it kind of in the beginning of this year, and I just wanted to put it in this video just because I want to shout out my own video that, hey, you know, if you want to go check those out, I did a very in-depth review about all of these. If you don't know what the Hunger Games is about, it's basically this girl named Katniss who goes into this thing called the Hunger Games, where she has to fight to survive and fight other people her age, and there's a love triangle involved. She becomes kind of like a monarch. Well, not a monarch. She becomes a symbol of rebellion and hope, and it's very dystopian, okay? Like, this started a dystopian trend. If you haven't heard about it, it actually still holds up pretty well, even though I've been rereading a lot of like old stuff that I read when I was in grade school and high school, and I'm surprised I still like this book series. I really am, because when I first read it, I did not like it. And some of the books that I'm rereading now, I don't know if I love them or not. I don't think I love them as much as I used to. But this was a really good series. Well, this is, I bought a little like fairy tale stuff. So, and Barnes & Noble has these collections of like, you know, fairy tale lore. So this is a complete fairy tale series of the Grimm's fairy tales. I love these kind of books because I love the decorating, the embossing on them, and then like the insides are always really pretty. And then the gold, like, look at how shiny that is. And then it has pictures in them. And I've never read like traditional fairy tales before. I mean, I know traditional fairy tales, you know, but I've never read like the full series of them. So that'd be really cool to read. Plus, I really like the original fairy tales. I like the grim, pun intended, like gritty gore. And then here's another one. This is Hans Christian Andersen's classic fairy tales. So yeah, I got this one, and I got another one, and it's all the way down on the list, and I'm gonna grab it in a minute. But yeah, basically it's the same principle thing. So there's a bunch of fairy tales. Really like the aesthetic of it. Here's another book from Andrea Creamer, and it is Forged in Fire and Stars. But like I said, she changed her last name, so it's Andrea Robertson now. So that's why this book is under a different name. And I have no idea what it's about, but I've heard it's pretty good, that this is like kind of like a well-known book that she did after Nightshade, so I really want to read it. And then this is Slayer by Christine White, and it is from the world of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So I've seen some episodes of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I'm assuming this is about vampires. It looked really cool. I really liked it. I took pictures of a lot of these books on my Instagram, so if you want to go check that out, link will be down below. And here's another book called Feedback by Mira Grant. I have no idea what this book is about. It looked really cool, and I just picked it up. It was at the dollar store. It was $1, and I picked it up. So here's the other book that I was talking about by Gail Kellinger. It's Imperance. So this is the second book in that series. I don't have the first book, sadly. But yeah, so it's very like steampunk-esque. It looks like it's like the series is like a travel world series, because the other one looked like it was in like a city. This one is in like Egypt, but I can't tell because, you know, sometimes the book cover, it lies. So yeah, one of my favorite authors of all time. I don't think I showed this on my channel, but I did do an unboxing of the first book in this series, which I still haven't read. The series prior to this book, I read the first two series prior to these last two series. It's very complicated because there's a lot of series within the whole entire chronicle of the franchise, and I have to keep up with it because she's coming out with another book series that I've been looking forward to it for the last like 8 years of my life. So this is the second book. I'm so happy I got the first edition. I have a lot of first editions of her books, but I don't know where the hell they are, and I'm very angry because I'm like, oh, they cost so much money just to buy them because they're so freaking big. But they're so pretty. This is Chain of Iron, The Last Hour, book 2, first edition. And I have the first book in this series, and basically I have all the books in her series. It's just half of them I don't have with me anymore because somebody probably sold them, that's why. But yeah, I'm probably gonna have to buy all the books again because this would if I could live without like having to buy any books ever again in my whole entire life, I would just buy this whole entire franchise's books for the rest of my life. Like literally, I love Cassandra Clare so much, and I want to reread The Infernal Devices, and I forgot that she came out with manga, and I'm reading the manga, and I really want to read the books again, so I'm looking forward to reading this because I really need to read it. I think it came out this year actually. So yeah, and then here is another fairy tale story. This is Beauty and the Beast and Other Classic Fairy Tales. So I don't know why I bought this, but I thought it was really cute. Beauty and the Beast is one of my favorite fairy tale stories, and I just love the inside covers. They're just really pretty. The next book my friend gave me, it's called Spetita by Patricia Cornwell. I have no idea what this is about. There is no like information to tell me what this is about. So yeah. This is like a mystery book. I got this at a local bookstore. This thing is so heavy, and like I don't know if I want to read it. I love Stephen King movies. I don't know if I can sit down and just read all of this, but I've been meaning to read a lot of his books. I rented out Sleeping Beauties, and I really want to read that so badly. I want to read this too, but this is it, the book, and it's by Stephen King, and it's huge. This thing is so heavy, and if you don't know what it is about, it's about these kids who are from this town called Derry, and they have to fight this it creature that can just transform and feed off of their fear. So that's basically what it's about. So it's mostly about scary clowns. This one, I do have the first book. I don't know where it is. I might have to rebuy it at some point. But this is the second book to the Fifth Wave, The Infinite Sea. And it's so much thinner and smaller than the first one. The first one was so big. I haven't read the book yet, and I haven't watched the movie, so no spoilers. Thank you very much. I really like books that, if it's a paperback, I like it when they have like the soft touch feel to them. And this is by Rick Yancey. This is a really popular novel, or it was a popular novel when it first came out, and I haven't read it. I should do a YouTube video on like all the popular books I haven't read. Speaking of popular books, I got this at Goodwill, and I kind of wish that I didn't get it at Goodwill because it's the 50 Shades of Grey book. And if you're over the age of 18 and you know what this book is about, I have seen the movies. I think I saw the first and the second movie. If you don't know what 50 Shades of Grey is about, it's about a girl who basically becomes a submissive to this guy and constantly goes back to him, and he has mom and personal issues as to why he does the whole dominant and submissive thing. So yeah. My relatives have read this. I haven't read the book. I don't know why I picked it up, and I don't know why I wanted to read it, but we have it now. So, yeah. And then this one I got at a local bookstore that closed by near me. It's a motion picture movie, which I didn't know about, and I really like the aesthetic of it. It's called Ashes in the Snow and it's by Ruta Stipes. I have no idea. It just looked really cool. It looked cold and wintry, and I really liked it, and it's a motion picture, and I didn't know about it. I just have to assume that every book is made into a movie or a TV show now at this point, because originality is dead. But it just looked really interesting. It kind of reminds me of like Five Below. That's like an old movie, like those like just really cold wintry movies. They just reminded me of that. So maybe I might actually read this during the holiday season. And then this is a repurchase for me. This is such a good book. I love it so much. I want to reread it, and I want to do a book review on it, and I want to do a review on the movie. This is The Book Thief by Marcus Zuzaski. I think I said that correctly. And I love this book. If you've never read it, it's a really good book. It's about a girl named, is her name Louisa? I got this at a Goodwill, I believe. And it has like a bunch of names written into it because it's used. But her name is Liesel, not Louisa. Liesel, and then Liesel, and she basically, it takes place during it's a fictional Nazi Germany universe, and she basically learns how to read. She is an orphan, and she lives with a new family, and she basically just like talks about, it's kind of like a memoir style of like her life during Nazi Germany and learning how to read, and like the fact that like all the books were being burned and she was trying to teach herself how to read. It's really sweet. She has a friend named Rudy. I love Rudy. And yeah, it's a really great book. I would recommend reading it. I love The Book Thief. It's one of my favorites. And then I don't know if I mentioned these ones, but I did do a review on this. Please go check it out. I really love this book so much. It's pretty recent. It's called Feed by M.T. Anderson. I love this book so much. I got it at Half Price Books. It is such an amazing book. If you don't know what it's about, here's a little synopsis. So basically, it's about a character. Of course, it's about a character. Can't remember what his name is. Titus. That's what his name is. It's about Titus. He falls in love with this girl. Can't remember what her name is. Violet. I'm looking at the back. So he falls in love with Violet. They live in like this post-apocalyptic world of where consumerism is a really big thing, and the only way to survive is if you if you become a consumer, and they basically have this feed thing that's planted into their head. It's basically what you think it is. It's like commercials, consumerism, news articles, all of this stuff. Like the internet basically implanted it into your head, and the only way that they can survive and make money is if they buy this stuff. And it's really bad because, one, the consumerism thing, and two, Violet ends up getting really sick by the end of the book. And I'm not gonna spoil anything, but basically a lot of the people in this universe disintegrate a lot because of the way that the environment is, because of how much consumerism is taking over their lives. They, cause a lot of trash because of it, and just technology is ruining people's lives. It's such a great book. I really, really recommend it. I loved this one so much, and I read it in college. I really liked it. And then some other books that I bought. There's a lot of them. We're gonna start with this one. This one is such a great book. I don't read a lot of like memoir or biography stuff, but I really love this book. I also mentioned this in another book haul I did, but this was the first book in the series. This is The Glass Castle by Jeanette Walls. They made a movie out of this with Woody Harris. He's one of my favorite actors. It's her memoir basically, and it just talks about all of like the trials and tribulations that she had to deal with her father. And her father was kind of like this drifter in a way. He had a lot of odd jobs. Her parents just couldn't take care of her and her siblings all that much. And her mom was like a struggling artist who kind of was selfish at times. And like, even though like you may think that she's like painting them in a bad light, she still really cared about her parents. And she even dedicates this book to her dad, because I believe he passed away like not too long after. And it's a really great book, and I really love it. And if you're into like biographies or memoirs, I would highly recommend this book because it is so good. I love it so much. I think my friend gave me this, I want to say, so yeah. And then the next book is a cult classic. I've seen the movie. I loved it. Leonardo DiCaprio is in it. This is The Great Gatsby. I know everybody is like kind of required to read this at some point in their life. I was not. It's very short. And from what I know about it, it's basically about this guy named Gatsby who's trying to find this girl, trying to win this girl over, and things just don't work out for him. And he like just throws lavish parties, and he's trying to be this big hotshot and trying to be with this girl named Daisy. And yeah. So I've heard it's a good book. It's by F. Scott Fitzgerald. And I really want to read it. So yeah. And then the next book, this was really popular, and I picked this up off of like a book recommendation on YouTube, and it's basically just called Stalking Jack the Ripper. So if you don't know who Jack the Ripper was, he was a serial killer in the UK, and it's by Kirill Manskuko. I don't know how to pronounce that name, but basically I'm assuming it's basically what the title says. So yeah, that's why I picked it up. I didn't pick it up because of the cover. I picked it up because it was a pretty, you know, what do you call it? A pretty popular book at the time when it came out. Anyway, and then I did see the movie of this, and I believe Lily Collins came out in it. It is The Lovely Bones by Alice Sebold. I don't remember where I got this from. I think I got it from a thrift store, and the movie was pretty interesting. If I remember correctly, it's about eating disorders, if I remember that correctly. Future me, please like put in a correction if it isn't. But yeah, I've seen the movie. It was really good. So yeah. Oh, and then future me, edit this one in. This is The Red Scrolls Lost of Magic by Cassandra Clare, the Elderless Curse, Book 1. I also bought this. I think I got this at Walmart, actually. And yeah, I own every single one of her books. I think the only ones that I don't own is The Shadow Market, but I might be lying on that. Now, this is really weird and very odd, and people might hate me for this, but there's a reason why I saved all of this for last, because this is the most disorganized, as you can tell. When I get books, a lot of times I don't get the first book, or I don't get all the books in the series, and then I'm missing books in the series and it just looks incomplete. And as you can tell, I'm holding books that are very, very popular and turned into a really, really very well successful franchise in the TV world. So I only have, and I don't know how many books are in this franchise because there are so many, and it's a very well-known book. And I only have these ones. I don't even know which order they go into half the time at all. So I only have 4 of them, and I'm pretty sure there's like 6, maybe more than that. I don't understand why they're broken up into 2 parts. This is the Game of Thrones series, and I've only, if you can tell which ones these are the only ones that I have. I have A Storm of Swords, 1 Steel and Snow, A Dancing with Dragons, part 2, and then the other ones are the other parts. So this is A Storm part 2, and then this is A Dragons part 1. So I don't understand why they're broken up into 2 parts. They could have been smashed together, in my personal opinion. Probably wondering, why do you only have like those books in your collection? Have you read the other books? No, I haven't started this series. No, I never watched the TV show. I've heard very interesting things about it, and it's by it's by George R.R. Martin. I got these for free on my campus, where basically we would have like this cabinet thing in our English department, just in the hallway, where people could just leave books whenever they want and other people can pick up the books. So I picked up these because they were just there, and these were the only ones that people left. And that was it. So that's the story of that. I don't have the other books, and I don't know if I'm gonna get the other books. So yeah. But thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see all you guys in the next video. Bye.